You got all the recording on your end?
Yep. We're all good to go. In fact, we're live, bro. Hey, Darin Steen here. I'm your host of Top Gun Trainers, where I go around the world and I search out the most successful personal trainers and we get out golden nuggets. We interview them and we try to learn from them. So today, I'm super stoked, man, that we got a young man, the age of 24 years young. He's proven to me that personal trainers can help more people and make more money with online training. And we got so much to learn from him. His name is Tyler Kelly. Tyler, welcome, buddy.
Hey, Darren, appreciate you having me on, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for taking time out. I'm so excited to learn from you, and hopefully the people listening can learn as well. You guys, this kid started training clients professionally at the age of 18. He did it for 4 years until the age of 22. At that time, he saw the handwriting on the wall, and he went full time with training and helping people online. And that blows my mind because I still haven't mastered it, and I'm 52. You can find his stuff at logicallifting.com. In my opinion, from my perspective, his two claims to fame, the reason why I really started to become a fan and follow this kid is because he bought his dad a car and gave it to his dad as a gift recently. And he just recently made $20,000 in 1 month. In fact, last month with training people online. I'm stoked to find out more about that. Tyler, tell us a little bit about what it was like to give your dad a gift of a car, or was it a truck?
Uh, it was a car, yeah. God, you're giving me the goosebumps over here with that intro. Jeez, appreciate it. But
You're welcome.
yeah, I'm shaking in my knees right now. That was one of the most loving things I could have ever done for an individual. There's nothing like the gift of giving, especially for the ones that had raised you through my entire life. So with the success that I had, I'm very grateful for what's come for me the past year with the rapid growth. And that was something I really wanted to do. I was put in a position to where I was able to give back to my father, who, has been so frugal with me throughout my entire life, giving me everything I've ever wanted, so it was nice to be able to kind of turn the tables, and return that gift.
That's awesome, Tyler. We were talking before we went live here about a few things. We're getting a little philosophical. And I said, from my perspective, that I firmly believe life is relatively simple. And if you do a few things in life, you're going to live a good to great life. And one of them that I know for sure, and I was able to do it, thank goodness, and that was honor my father at the end of his life. When you can honor your mother, and I honored my father before the end of his life, but when someone dies slowly, you really got to go above and beyond. And we let him pass at home. Last year was the most unbelievable year I ever had with my dad. And with the help of hospice, he passed peacefully at home with me by his side, just like you would want. And that was awesome. So I totally agree with you. To honor your father and your parents like that is a big deal, man. To be able to do something like that at such a young age, it had to feel like maybe like an outer body experience,
Yeah, totally. And even you mentioning that to me, is very humbling because me being so young, you don't realize how short life can be for some, so you really got to maximize every moment and make the most of every day.
Absolutely. Tyler, let's get right into it. Before you start teaching us your experiences, teaching me, I like to start out these podcasts and say, in the industry, from my perspective of what I've seen in the personal training industry, training people live, is that it starts out exciting in the very beginning. You say, oh man, $80, $100 an hour, this is great, gonna be around girls, gonna get chicks, and then very, very quickly you become a wage slave. You're putting in 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and what started out as a passion very quickly turns into a burden, and you start to become unhealthy mentally, physically, and all of a sudden you leave the industry and you go get a job. So that's what I see is very, very common in that industry. I saw it at Lifetime Fitness, and it's a travesty. That's why I love interviewing people like you, so we can help the learning curve to other trainers so that doesn't have to happen, and we can get more people being great trainers and making lucrative careers. So what did you see in the industry, Tyler, when you were training people live? Did you see something similar? Did you see something different?
You got me fired up already. What a great topic. Yeah, surprisingly enough, I was only in the professional training industry for about 3 years with the in-person. I know there's many individuals have been in it much longer than that, but for me, I enjoyed it for a while, but eventually not only does it become time consuming and kind of burn you out, but it's very mediocre. There's a lot of generalized trainers out there doing the same thing with the same people. And with the knowledge that I was gaining, I was so obsessed with the fitness industry that my knowledge kept growing, with the databases and the research articles I was looking into. I wanted to do something with a specific audience, and take control of, a specific goal and really tailor to those individuals rather than being all across the board. So I wanted to be something unique and special.
Would you say, before we get into what you just said about what you're doing, specializing for clients, helping them in great shape, what you saw with the other trainers was cookie cutter approach, the passion would leave, and if they stayed in the industry, you could sort of easily tell that they weren't really into what they were doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think every trainer, regardless of how much passion you have for the industry, are going to get burnt out. That job can only last so long. You even mentioned your age and how long you've been doing this. It's great to see you make that transition into helping people in different ways and moving into the online platform. Regardless of where you're at, personal training wise, in my opinion, the in-person training industry can only last so long for a training individual.
And tell us, where did you do that at? Where did you go full time? A box gym, a private gym, people's homes?
Yeah. At first, my first 2 years was at a big box gym, so a Charter Fitness. So they're in the Midwest here. And then my third year, actually, I moved on and did a little bit of freelance training. So I worked for myself, did a lot of in-home training, helped individuals, traveled from home to home. And once again, I enjoyed that. It was decent money for an average individual, but very time consuming. Once again, traveling from home to home, I was tied up every single day.
And how important do you think training yourself and being the role model for your clients is at creating clientele that are really being fulfilled with your service?
Oh man, yeah, I think it's so important to lead by example. I'm very grateful for being so passionate about the fitness industry. Even if I was told I couldn't gain another ounce of muscle, I would still work out because I truly love it. But I think it's very important to practice what you preach and be in that role of, taking care of yourself before you take care of others.
Right. What I think, Tyler, you'll see as you get into your 30s, 40s, and 50s is I still like to have ripped abs. I like it when 25 to 30-year-old good-looking girls head turn when I go by. It makes me feel good. It feels good that I do look about 10 years younger. But, as you get into raising a family and the stresses that you haven't experienced yet, getting a good night's rest, waking up refreshed, lowering your stress levels, staying off of meds, and being flexible, having good focus and energy throughout the day, those health benefits start to become more and more popular. I mean, more important, because you do realize that you see maybe your friends around you at 30, 40, some of them dying, going to hell in a handbasket, and just falling apart. You understand the value of those health benefits.
Oh, yes. And you just hit the nail on the head. Internally is so important, and even in my position, being so young, everybody that works out, for whatever reason it may be around my age, don't think of those things, because they're young, they're healthy, they haven't had any of those complications already. So that's amazing to hear. It's always great to hear someone in your position staying so healthy at such an age. You've really got to take care of your body, not only for the external benefits, but obviously internally as well.
All right. Now, most trainers that have been in the industry for a few years probably already know the stuff that we just talked about. But now let's transition into what was the handwriting on the wall? When did you start to see after you left Charter Fitness? By the way, which Charter Fitness did you train your clients at? Because I'm down here in that neck of the woods as well.
Yeah, Charter Fitness of Sycamore, Illinois. So small town, small little cute town, but yeah, right here in DeKalb County. So.
And before we move on to what I just said, let's talk about how did they treat you? Did you pay rent? Did they give you a portion of the sessions that you were charging for? How did it work at that gym?
Yeah, so it was a flat rate session. So you were employed by them. It was a set amount per session, and it's a very salesy environment. I think a lot of big box gyms are, they're very numbers driven. They want you to hit a specific goal every month. The better you do, the more they expect out of you in the coming months. So I think it was just a numbers skill for them. They didn't really remember many names. It's like, all right, you got one, let's move on to the next.
Great. And did you have to get your own clients? How much did they pay you per hour?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. So obviously, if you wanted more clientele than you were getting, you had to do a little digging to go get your own clients. But they did provide some clients with the manager sales that they got. And at that gym, it was only 16 per session. So here in the Midwest, we're not in a super ritzy area. So you go a little little bit east and towards the city, you get paid a little more, but out here it's 16 a session.
Yeah. So $16 a session, you're grinding hard, you're putting in long days, and you're, maybe, you don't have big overhead, maybe not a girlfriend, wife, or kids,
Yeah.
maybe living at home. So that works. Then you go out and you're like, you feel like you want to grow and expand. So you left. Now, what were you charging and about how much were you making once you left Charter and went out on your own and trained in people's houses?
Yeah, yeah. So when I trained out of home here in this area, I was doing 40 a session. So that was the local in-house charge that I was.
And when you left Charter Fitness and started that endeavor, was it refreshing to you? Were you like excited because it was your own business? Was it sort of fresh again?
Oh yeah, totally. I had a lot. I kind of re-sparked that passion for what I was doing because I was on my own terms. I had my own rules. All my programs were set up by me, and I wasn't being breathed down. Following their protocols. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed that for that year of training for myself, much more than I did working for somebody else.
And did you get any help on setting up your business strategy, being legal, accounting? Because that's a little scary, leaving a facility and going out on your own.
Yeah, it was very minimal at that point. So with the training on the side, I had typical liability waivers. I was covering my own butt on a small scale, but I hadn't dumped into actually creating a business for myself until I moved into the online platform.
Wow, and that's pretty common. I hear some trainers are scared to leave, the safety of Charter Fitness or Lifetime Fitness. I left in 2005. I signed a non-compete. There's a lot of factors, and I see a lot of trainers that may be wanting to make that transition. Here locally, I have a group of trainers that we're having a mastermind, and I see they come in, they're excited to potentially learn and do what I'm doing, but they're scared. And what I found is once I took that leap of faith, you don't know how to do it, and when you just burn the bridges, the boats, and say you're not going back, there's no plan B, you only have one option, it just sort of happens, and you just sort of make it happen as you go. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I agree completely with what you just said.
All right, so now I'm really super interested in myself because of your success. And I should have said this earlier, Tyler, but I got to tell you, I have been skeptical of coaches and trainers making a lot of money online by coaching people, because what I see in the industry very common is people who are maybe good at talk and sales, but they're not good at training people, and they make a living by getting people to buy a big ticket item, but are they able to service that person and continue to grow that into a good yearly wage and a good career? So I've been a little skeptical in the past. People like you have been so refreshing to me. I think it's going to be super exciting for people to watch this Skype interview. Later it's going to be an audio on a podcast, but I know you're a real person. I've been following you for a while. So you have been I had one guy I was following before, AJ Mirzad, and I never met him, and he's doing things at a pretty high level, and it's hard to believe, it's hard to understand who you can believe online is being genuine. Tell me where your thoughts were on that when maybe a couple years ago when you were trying to make the transition.
Oh yeah, credibility is huge. Authenticity is something you've got to have in your arsenal to come across as a legit individual online. Even myself, I was skeptical in hiring my first few online mentors, and it's sad to know that there are a lot of scammers out there. People that are in it for the money. They have no problem with skeezing people over. So it is tough to really build a strong reputation for yourself online. You've got to collect as many testimonials as possible, be very authentic with your videos and your interviews and everything you're putting out there content wise, so people can actually instill trust in you. And that's something I've really worked super hard on, is not only providing the credibility for my name, but also providing the value once I acquire somebody, so that they're more than willing to obviously provide the feedback that others look for when they're looking into hiring somebody that they have never met in person.
All right, Tyler, the bulk of this interview I wanted to be about how you made the transition to become so successful financially. 20K a month last month. Congratulations, brother. I'm telling you. And you know what? I got a feeling that you're going to grow that. That's not a one and done deal, because and you probably know that because you have systems built up, and you can sort of see the trends in the growth. It's not like that was a once one time a thing and you're going to go back down to 5-10 grand. So that's an amazing thing, bro. I'm telling you, man. And you're so young and it happened really quick for you for a few reasons, but you might not totally understand someone that's been down here in the trenches going towards that with not nearly as much success, that it's a big deal, man.
Oh yeah, and as you say that, even the 3 months previous to that, I was consistently making about 15,000. So it did come on really quick for me, I mean, just a year ago, I was making freaking 3,000 a month as an in-person trainer. So I was just there not too long ago. I relate to those people that are up and coming, wanting to take on this journey, and there's a lot of ups and downs, that's entrepreneurism at its finest. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. A lot of people see that end result. Oh, wow, I'd love to be there. But do you really know what goes into that? Building a credible brand and, providing tremendous value to individuals. So yeah, very grateful for where I'm at. And you're absolutely right. This is not the end by any means. And that was not a one-time shot. I'm ready to keep progressing.
Yeah. I feel fortunate to be building our friendship up. That's one nice thing about Skype interviews is you turn into you hang around. Our discussion, we know each other a little bit better. We live in Chicago. I hope we get a workout in. Yeah, and I'm gonna go towards doing what you're doing, bro. And just interviewing people is a part of that as well. But also the information that you're giving, you got to have the tools as well. So let's start talking about the meat of this interview, and that is you're training at people's houses. It's new and fresh, but you know what? Long days. Within a year, so I'm sure you started to realize that, hey, I can only do this so long. I think there's other people out there helping people online, making some good money. Start talking about the transition and how you made that happen, because our time is so precious and it's so easy to get spread so thin. Tell us about the start of that transition.
Yeah, that was it. You said it right there. I had that initial spark to where I was like, wow, like how long can I actually do this? Going on vacations, leaving my clients for a week, it was tough, okay, are they going to still want to work with me when I come back? I got to provide them workouts in the meantime. It wasn't sustainable, it wasn't the life that I wanted to live. So I looked into other interventions, looked into online training, some mentors that had been in the shoes that I wanted to potentially be in. And I took that risk, I dove into the online pool a little bit. And that's what kind of set the initial spark for me. You mentioned an individual's name, AJ Mirzadi. He's one of the first individuals that I worked with, that he already had a multi-million-dollar successful online fitness business, and he was kind of helping others kind of build that same reputation up. So that's kind of what started it for me. And the first month blew my mind, because I made actually $3,500 my first month online after building my first 2 online programs. And that was $500 more than I was making 40 plus hours of training on my own. And that's when the light bulb really hit me. That was the initial moments where I'm like, wow, Tyler, this can really work for you. And it snowballed from there. I cut ties with about half my in-person clients, and kind of put a little more focus into the online thing from there.
How much money did you make? Was it your first month of online training or second month? How much?
Yeah, so my first month I made $3,500 between my first 2 programs that I designed.
Wow. All right. So did you do that on your own, or did you pay AJ to coach you to do that?
AJ helped me with some of the organic marketing tools that I utilized within that first month. So it was all free advertising, a lot of direct outreach, but it freaking worked, man. My first goal was obviously designing programs that I knew were going to create great results, provide tremendous value. And then from there, we implemented some of his unique marketing tools, and kind of went from there.
So following AJ, you can get some tools, you can get an idea what some people are doing. So did you have to put your money where your mouth is and hire him before you started to make things happen?
Yeah, that was the first investment I really made in myself, was hiring an individual such as AJ. And it was tough, I had never spent money on myself, but now I realize in the position that it's an investment. Anything I'm investing in myself, I'm expecting a return, so that was not a cost for me. And now I've hired many individuals since then. I've got a mindset mentor, etc., that I know I'm going to get something tremendous out of. So I'm no longer afraid to invest in myself, because I know I'm going to get a tremendous return on it, whether it's via income or just personal experience.
Very cool. Can you share with us who your mindset mentor is? Are they like a coach that holds you accountable, or do you?
Yeah. So I've got a couple that are actually in the works now. So I'm still kind of debating on who I'm going to be going with, but I've spent, invested in some ads experts, just kind of dipping in the pool of working with experts in certain industries, because I'm by no means, the best at what I do in all these areas. So it's nice to be able to work with the best, to learn from the best,
Absolutely. So The first month you hired AJ, you got $3,500 income. You had to be real excited because you said that was more than you were making, grinding hard, going to people's houses, right? And at that point, I'm sure it was easy to say, this is what I want to do to make the full-time switch.
Yeah.
So from the point of time that you said, I want to consider doing online training to the time you hired AJ, how many months did it take you to find AJ, and how did you find him? Were you sniffing around considering other people, or did you go through social media, Facebook? How long was that, and how did you get to AJ?
Oh yeah, I definitely did my dirty work. When I looked into online training initially, there were a few other individuals I came across as well. There were actually there was another AJ I remember coming across, but something stood out to me about AJ, just his authenticity and the way he came across in his content. He seemed real. So I actually attended one of his in-person events. He hosts live events in New York for that reason, for people that are potentially skeptical about, hiring an online coach. So I got to meet the man himself, see if he's the real deal, meet some individuals he had worked with. And when I came home from that event, actually last April of 2016, I knew that was something I had to go through with. I was like, I am so ready to bite the bullet on this. And that was the start of the journey with him, the online journey. So
I believe I remember that. I was scheduled to speak at one of his events, maybe that one or after, and I had to pull out. I had something come up,
man,
a personal thing. But I would like to make a point to the people listening that are trainers, want to be trainers, or even veteran trainers, and that is that live events are really special for a few reasons, because things are different when you shake someone's hand and look them in the eye and feel their energy, and you see that it's real. When you follow coaches and trainers online, there's always that thing in the back of your mind. It's hard to know if they're really real or not, and how authentic they are. Would you agree, Tyler?
Oh, yes. So true. And I think that's a game changer for AJ and what he does. And a note to any individual working online is you've still got to try and make that face-to-face interaction, however it is, whether it's hosting events or seminars. Give people a chance to meet you. And like you said, shake your hand and actually see you, and not just hide behind the computer all the time. It's really finding that healthy balance as to obviously helping people online and not only leveraging your own life, but others as well. But you've got to give people that opportunity to obviously connect with you in other ways as well.
So let's say someone's wanting to go online with helping people selling coaching or info products or supplements. There's so much to do. I'm training people one-on-one. I got 2 daughters. Let's face it, a lot of people, you get emails, private messages, your day and time and focus can get taken away in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Did you try to do anything with online training before you hired AJ? Did you make an attempt to do some things? Did you shoot some videos? Did you make some attempts?
I started very small. So like I had the first, actually, it's funny. The first move I thought I had to make too was creating a website. I thought that was going to be the first thing that I had to do, take that step. I got to have a website. I got to have somewhere where people can find me. But little did I know, if you're not sending anybody or sending any traffic to your site, it's kind of just a sitting duck. It's not doing much for you. So I still hear time and time again, people are like, oh, I can't start doing anything online yet. I don't have a website. And it's like, well, what do you need a website for yet? It's a lot of sales page, landing page content, promoting your program specifically, rather than just having this general website out in the open. So I thought that was my first step, but I'm glad I got into, working with a professional because he gave me the right tools from the start.
So my question is, how many months did you sort of try to do things on your own before you got the info from AJ of exactly what you needed to do?
Yeah, it was about 2 to 3 months. And at that time I was still doing the in-person training too, so for a lot of people, they have a lot of full-time obligations and they're still trying to make something happen on the side. And you've got to really muster up at some point and drop something in your life so that you can put a little focus into this. Because for example, I was training still 10-hour days, and I'd come home and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to work on the website a little bit. And it's like, you're burnt out already. I didn't have the energy to put into it after a 10-hour day already. So I really had to learn how to leverage my time as well to actually work effectively on this new online venture I was willing to take on.
Right. From my perspective, Tyler, it might have seemed a little difficult at the time, but because you tried for 2 or 3 months, and you didn't try probably very hard because you didn't have the energy and the focus to, and you didn't have the knowledge to follow through on anything, right?
Yeah.
But within 3 months, you were very wise for a young man and said, I got to hire someone to hold me accountable that's proven. When you hired AJ, things happened very quickly. You made $3,500. That got you off to a great start at making a full-time transition. At that point, how long did it take you to say, I'm going to transition off these clients that I'm training in homes?
Yeah, so that first month, like I said, I cut ties with about half of them, and obviously finished out the sessions they had. And I was full blown online within about 3 months. By month 3, I was consistently making about 1,000 more each month. Very very rapid. For what I was going in expecting. So within 3 months, I was already making about 5,000 a month, and at that point, I was almost doubling my income from in person. So at that point, my clients totally understood. They were on my side with making that transition. Some of them even jumped into my online platform. So I went full blown online, and I've been 100% working from home for about 10 months now. So
wow. So what are some things, even though your transition happened quickly because of your very wise decisions, still time can get taken away from you. Let's talk about 3 to 4 things that you do that will guard your time so you don't get spread too thin, because to grow your online business, you still got to really stay focused, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so time management wise, I mean that's the biggest thing for me. It's not, first of all, analysis paralysis. Some people get caught up in putting their eggs in too many baskets getting online, and that's why I think it's so important to work with at least somebody to guide you with what to do, because so many people got all these projects they want to tackle, and you're never really getting anywhere with them. So the big focus for me from the start was one task at a time. I complete it in full, move on to the next one, and actually layer, build that foundation brick by brick. So a second thing would be the actual managing my day-to-day life. I have a girlfriend, I have a family, I have a dog. There's other things that come up in life. So just kind of coming up with a schedule as to what I'm going to do throughout my day, when I'm going to schedule my breaks so that I'm not all over the board, or wake up some days and I've got no game plan. I utilize a written planner. I have a written planner that I write out my next days. Every day I have planned out in advance. I've become a huge planner. I'm not flying by the seat of my pants. I know what I've got scheduled out for the next day. I know what events I have, interviews, etc. So I kind of plan out my day in advance. I know what time I'm getting up, what I'm tackling for that day, and I think that's helped me big time, is just having that written planner and staying on schedule with what I've got put together.
So your planner's handwritten in a notebook? It's not on a computer or a phone?
Yes. I've actually got it right in front of me. Look at this thing. Yeah, full blown.
There's some people that might say that's old school, and yeah. I'm really impressed with you at such a young age, because I think the old-fashioned way works definitely better. What I found, Tyler, with the task one at a time, that is a huge problem for almost everybody. Because the window pops up in Facebook Messenger, email, text. My daughter texts me, Dad, the car's broke. And then it is so easy not to, especially when you're doing in-person training and you're transitioning into online, because you remember how stressful that was. One thing that I've found is my handwritten journal, just like yours, Tyler, is right here.
Oh, he's got his right there too. Look at that.
And here's the thing. I mark it off when I get it done, because it's satisfaction putting the line through it, and it's done, and me writing that line through it feels really good.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I still have like a notes app on my phone, for if I'm out and about and I don't have my written planner on hand, I'll write it in my notes, and then I'll transfer it over to my written planner when I get home, or it's even compact enough where I do bring it a lot of places. I totally agree. I think old school is the way, and everyone always says your thumb is connected with to your brain, so everything you're writing down, it's that much more of a mental note that you actually put that down on your planner rather than accounting for it any other way.
All right, give us one more thing that has worked well for you this last year at guarding your time and not spreading yourself too thin, so you can be good for yourself, your relationships, and your business.
Oh, I think kind of like a 2-in-1. Being patient, first of all, and then not being money driven. A lot of people get online because of the luxury of having so much time and making money, but for me, it was just about carrying out my passion in a different way. And I knew it was going to have to be a patient journey. People see these big wins, I even saw individuals making bigger months than I did. They started out making $5,000 or $7,000 their first month, and whoop-de-doo, I wasn't going to let that affect me. I was on my own journey, on my own track, and I wanted to just pursue something that I truly cared about. The money was completely secondary. Even if I was making the same shit, if I was still making what I was making in person, I wouldn't really care, because every day I wake up fired up and passionate about what I'm doing and what I'm serving to the world and those that I know I can help. So I think that's one of the biggest things is you've got to be patient with starting your own venture, because success comes at all different rates. So you've got to really love what you do and be engulfed in your passion, and you'll get there eventually.
And do a lot of things that we're talking about, because that passion will get you will dwizzle down and burn out if you don't do some of the things that we're talking about in this industry.
Yes.
Because this industry is we're giving so much energy. Unless someone's a professional trainer, they can't understand how much energy we give to one client for one session.
Oh yes, 100%.
So let's wind it up. I got a couple things on my mind that I'd love to get out in the next 5 minutes, Tyler. And
hit me.
That is, once you hired AJ and make the transition within 3 months, how long of a commitment did you make to that coach? And are you still using an online coach?
Yeah. So for the actual process of getting all the systems and like the back end implementation up and running, it was about 3 to 4 months that I was working with him very closely, directly. And at that point, I was still in touch with him. Obviously you build a relationship with a coach that you work so closely with. So since then, I haven't been working with him directly, but I still keep in touch. If there's like a funnel I've built or a piece of content that I've created, be like, hey, I'd love for you to take a look at this, see what your ideas are. We're always constantly bouncing ideas off each other. And not only that, but I've met many other great individuals in the industry through him as well. So it's always great to just surround yourself with positive, like-minded individuals, that have the same goals as you are in life, the same aspirations, and always connect with them. I have actually a goal for myself. I get on 10 conversations a week outside of sales calls, just with people that are closely related to what I love, just having those conversations, like something like this. I'm going to be fired up for the rest of the day after this talk with you. It just lights me up connecting with people that have such a strong care and passion for what we do.
100%. All right, Tyler, give us a couple minutes. What's next for Tyler with your online business?
Just keep growing, baby. Putting myself out there. I think that's one of the hardest tools of getting online, and that's why I hired somebody, is actually marketing yourself. As you probably know, I've met a lot of great in-person trainers that are phenomenal at what they do. They're really good, but they never become anything. They never make a name for themselves, because they just don't know how to market themselves effectively. And that's where I had to take that initial step. I'm glad I did, of hiring an expert who knew how to scale a brand, who scale a business and actually become marketable, and profitable. And that's the goal here. I'm 1 year in. I'm very grateful for what's happened so far, but the sky is the limit in terms of what we can all reach, with our own businesses and moving online. So the goal is to just keep getting out there in front of as many individuals as I can. And that's why I'm very grateful for this interview as well. You're a big name in the industry. You got a check handed to you by Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. It's great to just meet and connect with individuals that are willing to propel you through the scales.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Anybody listening to this in the Chicagoland area, or actually anywhere in the country, in 9 weeks from today, this will be getting launched as a podcast in about 5 weeks, but on August 19th, I'm having a one-day event down in Orland Park, Illinois, for CECs, for personal trainers, on how strategies to build a more lucrative career. And I'm gonna hang around Tyler a little bit more. I'm gonna urge him to try to get down there, because he's such an inspiration to me. So I hope we can get you down there, Tyler, for one day. And also, I want to get a workout in with you. That'd be a good opportunity to get that arm workout in, I promise you.
Hell yeah, let's do it, baby. Yeah, sounds like a great event. Going off one of the previous questions you had asked, hosting in-person events is very important, connecting with individuals. There's so much more attentive, when you're right there in front of your face, you can make eye contact with the crowd. So that's awesome that you're hosting something like that and willing to kind of give back to individuals,
Yeah, thanks. Well, I give out, but I get back from those events as well. Just like you said, we already got one speaker from Kansas City. His name's Greg Justice. He's 55 years young. He's got an unbelievable, thriving corporate wellness training business out of Kansas City. He gets award after award. He's all over the country. He's written 10 books. He owns a book publishing company to show fitness trainers how to brand themselves through his book publishing company. He is an amazing individual. If you come, Tyler, that day, you'll meet him as well. He's a great dude.
Yeah, love it, baby. Looking forward to it.
All right, so anybody that's listening, I highly suggest you hang around Tyler. Tyler, what's a good way to hang around you online? Facebook is one. LogicalLifting.com, is that another one?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very active on social media. Obviously that's a huge part of my presence. I like to put as much of my content out there as possible. So, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the social media platforms, my website itself, I definitely trying to put myself out there as much as possible. I've got my business pages up and running, Logical Lifting, on Facebook, all those platforms. So, yes, sir.
Let's give one more little nugget to any trainer that wants to brand themselves better. Where should they spend their time? Two places: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. What's your top two? I know the info that I've gotten in the past from people I respect and put out is focus on one at a time. But
Yeah.
because if you spread yourself too thin, you'll do half-ass on everything. But what's the top two social media places that you feel are important for people who want to grow their reputation or brand?
Yeah, you got it, Darren. Definitely hit the nail on the head with focusing on one solely. It depends on the individual. You've got to figure out what works best for you as well. So if you're a good video, you transpair very well on video. YouTube, obviously, great platform. All video based. Facebook is a big one. Obviously, billions of users, one of the biggest social media platforms out there. If you're really good with your writing, you have a way with words. Start a blog, start blogging of some sort. Work for your expertise. You don't always have to, you don't have to be phenomenal at videos. You don't have to put a video out every day. If you're better at writing, write by all means. If you're better with your voice, you're very transparent over voice, start a podcast, start something along those sorts. So just kind of find one platform that suits you best, and dominate it. Really put a lot of your energy into it. Yeah.
That sounds great. So if this comes out on the podcast in a few months, in 1 month, you can find Tyler. I'll have show notes on it. But if you're hearing this audio somewhere, I highly suggest you guys search out Tyler Kelly. That's Kelly. Find him on Facebook. He's not too hard to find. You can follow him. I don't know if you're all maxed out on friends. www.logicallifting.com. Hang around him, and you can't go wrong. Tyler, I want, before you go, with your physique, you're still into building your physique up. You look great as a young guy. What's like one area that you would really love to see improvement in with your training and your physique? You're a power lifter slash bodybuilder.
Yeah.
What's one area that you really are excited about growing your physique?
Oh man, we all have our weak points. I'd say probably my chest and my traps. I've always had. I don't have a very big barrel chest. Not very defined either. So that's one area I'd like to see improve. I'm just glad to live a healthy, sustainable life. Be very happy with where I am physically, and actually live a normal life. And food, enjoy the odd foods that the normal individual wouldn't be able to enjoy. And but we can always improve. That's the beauty of this sport. You can never really be completely satisfied. There's always something to work on. So yeah, I definitely say personally, chest and traps, baby.
That's right. And that was a little personal because I'm gonna show you on how to improve, give you the best chest workout of your life, and I'm gonna give you the best arm workout of your life within the next few months. And
let's do it, baby.
Yeah. It's a done deal in my own mind. So I've done it dozens and dozens and dozens of times with even high profile people like Dr. Joe Mercola. And when I get them in my club, I give them everything I got, and then they say, you know what, I got to work with this guy because I've never experienced that in my life. So,
Yeah.
and whether the people listening are wanting to grow their brand and go to online training, or they just want to become healthy and hire Tyler to help them gain muscle, lose fat, and get healthy, whether they want to compete as a physique person or a bikini girl figure, or compete on the stage of life as a healthier adult, it's all the same. It's becoming a more stronger version of themselves, and that's what we as trainers do, Tyler. So I applaud you for doing what you're doing, inspiring veterans like myself, and I'm real excited to build our relationship up and create a win-win situation down the road where we can just do what we do and help more people live longer and stronger.
Yeah, freaking awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, Darren. This was much appreciated. My
All right.
pleasure.
All right, Tyler, thanks again. Keep rocking and rolling. Everybody listening to this podcast, you do have the power to change to make the rest of your life the best of your life. Woo!